SWOT Analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, analysis. The SWOT analysis is a method to evaluate a business opportunity or a business project. Fold a piece of paper into quarters, and then put the name of the opportunity or project at the top. Then label each of the quadrants as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Proceed to make lists under the topic headings. Strengths and weaknesses are internal attributes to the organization, and opportunities and threats are external to the organization. SWOT is an initial planning method as it is rather general. Information produced from a SWOT analysis can guide a project or opportunity so that weaknesses and threats are avoided, and so that strengths and opportunities are maximized. The SWOT analysis is a business or project evaluation method. Griggs v. Duke Power Company, 1971. Job tests must be, quote, reasonably related, end quote. Griggs v. Duke Power Company was a case argued before the Supreme Court in which a ruling was made that tests used to exclude job candidates could not disproportionately reject one race or another. If such tests did end up, even unintentionally, desperately impacting a particular race, then it is likely the test does not accurately measure an actual job performance issue. The case came about because Duke Power Company had originally said that African Americans were only allowed to work in its labor department. This rule was then dropped, but a new rule was added that a high school diploma was required to move out of the labor department, and an IQ test was required. As it turned out, fewer African American applicants had high school diplomas and scored lower on the test, resulting in fewer job placements for African Americans. Further, it was shown that white applicants who had been working for the company for some years performed fine without the two new requirements. The court ruled that if such tests disparately impact minority applicants, then the business must demonstrate that the test is, quote, reasonably related, end quote, to the job for which the test is required. Douglas McGregor's Theory X, Theory Y. Workers are evil versus workers are self-managing. Douglas McGregor in the 1960s at the MIT Sloan School of Management proposed the juxtaposition of two opposite perspectives of management's view of workers, which he labeled Theory X and Theory Y. Theory X has management believing that people or workers are inherently bad and therefore must be managed in an authoritarian manner with strict controls and oversight. Theory Y is the opposite, where management believes that people are basically good and want to do good if only given a positive environment within which to thrive. While it is probably not very likely that managers fall squarely into one theory or the other, the definitions are helpful in discussing aspects of management. In general, the long-term effects of Theory Y management have proven to produce superior business results of long-term stability and profitability. McGregor's Theory X, Theory Y is the proposal of two opposite management perspectives of whether workers are inherently good or inherently bad, and the resulting effects that flow from the two theories. Human Resource Information System, HRIS. Database designed specifically for HR functions. The general meaning of an information system is a networked computer system that contains relevant information for the business. In HR, the relevant information is information on people, their backgrounds, values, skill sets, tax information, retirement information, performance review information, and compliance information. Immediately, security comes to mind. All of these issues require privacy and protection. If security can be guaranteed, then the issue of usability comes into mind. Can the system further the goals of the organization through its people and the people it is trying to attract? Ultimately, information systems are databases. A Human Resource Information System, HRIS, is a sophisticated database for managing specific HR information. McDonnell Douglas v. Green, 1973. Established framework of employment discrimination cases. The McDonnell Douglas v. Green 1973 case established a protocol or framework for employment discrimination cases. Cases must follow 1. The plaintiff, parentheses, employee and parentheses, must first establish a prima facie case of discrimination. 2. The defendant, parentheses, employer and parentheses, must produce evidence of a legitimate, non-discriminatory reason for its actions. If this occurs, then the presumption of discrimination dissipates. 3. The plaintiff must then show an inference of discrimination. The McDonnell Douglas v. Green 1973 case established a protocol or framework for the process employment discrimination cases must follow. Washington v. Davis, 1976. Proof of discriminatory motive must be shown. Washington v. Davis, 1976, was a case argued before the Supreme Court in which a ruling was made that just because a pre-employment test disproportionately impacts a racial group, it is not immediately illegal discrimination. In this case, 2 African Americans applied for and were turned down for positions with the Washington, D.C. Police Department because of results of a pre-employment verbal skills test called, quote, Test 21, end quote. The plaintiffs charged that the test violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment because more African Americans failed the test than other racial groups. The court did not find in their favor, but stated that a plaintiff must prove discriminatory motive on the part of the state. The court's findings have made it more difficult for plaintiffs to win discrimination cases against the state. The Washington v. Davis 1976 case established that a disproportionate impact on a racial group is not enough to prove a discrimination case under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, but proof of a discriminatory motive on the part of the state must be shown. Albemarle Paper v. Moody, 1975. Pre-employment tests must be predictive for the job. The Albemarle Paper v. Moody, 1975 case had African American employees charging that the company's seniority system promoted segregation. The seniority system used employment testing in establishing seniority steps. On appeal, the Supreme Court found that pre-employment tests must have a substantiated basis related to the job being tested for, and further found that awarding the plaintiffs back pay was a sufficient way to, quote, effectuate, end quote, the law. By effectuate, the court meant that this penalty would be enough to encourage employers to follow the law. The major point of Albemarle Paper v. Moody, 1975, was that pre-employment tests must be shown to be effective in predicting performance for the specific job for which they are being used. Total Quality Management, TQM. Quality through a continuous process of improvement. Total Quality Management, TQM, is an organization-wide pursuit of quality through a continuous process of improvement. The method uses statistics to identify which parts of the process can produce the greatest effect if improved, and therefore should be the current focus of the effort. Six Sigma is another statistical method for improvement which focuses on removing defects from the manufacturing process. But instead of being company-wide, like TQM, Six Sigma empowers another layer of special players in the improvement process. Six Sigma was developed by Motorola in 1985, and as employees train and become proficient, they reach levels of black belt, green belt, or master black belt. Total Quality Management was developed by Edwards Deming and was embraced by the Japanese in the 1970s, and is largely credited for their rise to becoming a nation of quality manufacturers. Total Quality Management is producing quality through a company-wide, continuous process of improvement. Related words, Six Sigma. Human Resources Research Method, HR Research Method. Design, data collection, testing, evaluation. Human resources is increasingly expected to play an active role in designing the business. Action research is the phrase which most appropriately fits the basic human resources research method. The process involves designing the study which, for HR, is most often a survey. Design will include specific objectives or questions to which answers are desired. Next is the data collection phase. Then the findings are tested through proposed actions or policy additions or changes. Finally, the study is evaluated in a reflective manner to examine what was learned, what was changed, and are the long-term effects matching what was desired. As groups of people, organizations are complicated. While the HR research method is relatively straightforward, understanding what information is learned from research is an ongoing search. Many PhD dissertations use language like, quote, the data may suggest, end quote. Quote, one possible conclusion might be, end quote, where researchers resist dogmatic conclusions, instead leaving open a range of conclusions to be drawn from research. The HR research method is a basic action research process of design, data collection, testing, and evaluation. Synonyms: action research.